Imagine this: 323 BC, the grand city of Babylon. Alexander the Great, the man who had conquered the known world, lies dead at just 32 years old. He wasn't struck down in battle, but by a sudden, mysterious illness. His vast empire, stretching from Greece to India, is instantly thrown into chaos. His generals, the Diadochi, circle like vultures, their eyes not on mourning, but on power. The air is thick with tension, conspiracies, and one enormous, pressing question: what do we do with the body of a god king? This wasn't just any funeral they were planning. It was the most important political statement of the age. Whoever controlled Alexander's body controlled the narrative, the symbol of his divine authority. The problem was, the journey back to his homeland of Macedonia was thousands of miles away, a perilous trek that could take years. And so began one of history's most bizarre and fascinating preservation sagas. For 2 long years, the body of Alexander the Great lay in state in Babylon, yet it showed no signs of decay. How was this possible in the blistering heat of ancient Mesopotamia? Ancient sources, like the historian Diodorus Siculus, tell us the royal embalmers were called in to perform a task of unprecedented scale. They needed to create a time capsule to preserve the conqueror's body perfectly for its long journey home. While Egyptian methods of mummification were well known, removing organs and using salts, Alexander's case was different. His body was to be displayed, a visible symbol of continuity. So, the embalmers turned to a substance prized for its purity and seemingly magical properties: honey. Picture a magnificent sarcophagus, anthropoid in shape, sculpted from hammered gold to resemble Alexander himself. The body is carefully placed inside, and then, gallon after gallon of pure, golden honey is poured in, submerging the conqueror completely. It sounds like something out of a myth, but the science behind it is surprisingly sound. Honey is a natural preservative, a supersaturated solution of sugars. Its low water content and high acidity create an environment where bacteria and microorganisms simply can't survive. They are essentially dehydrated to death. Plus, bees add an enzyme, glucose oxidase, which produces small amounts of hydrogen peroxide, the same stuff we use as a disinfectant today. By encasing Alexander in honey, the embalmers effectively sealed him off from the forces of decay, creating the most lavish and effective antibacterial coffin imaginable. While the body was being preserved, the political gears were turning furiously. A spectacular funeral carriage was constructed. It was more like a mobile temple, adorned with gold, jewels, and intricate paintings depicting Alexander's victories. A team of 64 mules was needed to pull this monumental structure. The plan was set. A grand procession would carry the body from Babylon all the way back to Aegae, the royal burial ground in Macedonia. This journey would be a declaration to the world that Alexander's legacy belonged to the Macedonian heartland. But one of Alexander's cleverest and most ambitious generals, Ptolemy, had other ideas. Ptolemy had been a childhood friend of Alexander's and had been appointed the governor, or satrap, of Egypt. He knew that possessing Alexander's body would grant him unparalleled prestige and legitimize his rule over the wealthy and ancient land of the pharaohs. He saw his chance to snatch the ultimate prize. As the magnificent funeral procession made its way through Syria, Ptolemy and his army intercepted it. It was the heist of the millennium. He didn't just steal a body, he stole a symbol of divinity. Ptolemy hijacked the entire procession and rerouted it south, towards Egypt. The regent in charge of the procession, Perdiccas, was furious. This act was a direct challenge to his authority and triggered the first of the great wars of the successors. Armies clashed and blood was spilled, all for the possession of a corpse preserved in honey. Ptolemy brought Alexander's body to Memphis, the ancient capital of Egypt. Here, the conqueror was worshipped as a god king, merging Greek and Egyptian traditions. This act cemented Ptolemy's control. He wasn't just a foreign governor anymore. He was the legitimate successor, the guardian of the divine Alexander. He founded a dynasty, the Ptolemaic kingdom, that would rule Egypt for nearly 300 years, ending with the famous Cleopatra. The foundation of this powerful dynasty was built, quite literally, on the stolen body of Alexander the Great. Later, Ptolemy's son moved the body to the new capital city he had named after the conqueror, Alexandria. A magnificent tomb, known as the Soma or Sema, was built to house the golden sarcophagus. For centuries, it was the most famous tourist attraction in the ancient world. Roman emperors like Julius Caesar and Augustus made pilgrimages to Alexandria to gaze upon the face of the legendary conqueror, seeking to borrow some of his aura and greatness. They would leave gifts, pay their respects, and connect themselves to his legacy. The body, still perfectly preserved, fueled the myth of Alexander's immortality. But then, history takes a frustrating turn. Over the centuries, as Alexandria was rocked by earthquakes, tsunamis, and political turmoil, the location of the tomb was lost. The last reliable historical mention of it dates to the 4th century AD. After that, it simply vanishes from the records. What happened to it? Was it destroyed in an earthquake? Looted for its gold? Moved to a secret location for safety and then forgotten? The mystery of Alexander's final resting place is one of the greatest unsolved puzzles in archaeology. Today, archaeologists and historians continue to search for it. Every few years, a new theory emerges, a new potential site is explored in and around modern Alexandria, but the tomb remains elusive. The story that began with a sudden death in Babylon led to a body preserved in honey, a daring heist, and the founding of a dynasty ends with a question mark. The body of Alexander the Great, which was so powerful it started a war, has vanished. His legacy, however, is preserved not in honey, but in the pages of history and the cities that still bear his name. The search continues, driven by the hope that one day, we might once again look upon the face of the man who conquered the world. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this journey into the past, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more historical mysteries. See you next time.